Okay, Joe, you want to call roll?
All right, I started the recording. Justine Cimaroli, absent. Tim Nath,
Here.
Mr. Tolmer,
Here.
Mr. Lennon, absent. Mr. Livingston,
Here.
and I'm Joe Cower.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Do we have any public comment? I see a couple of normal folks, but anything public? Betty, Joe, Nick, Bruce. Okay. Adoption of minutes for the January meeting went out. Any comments on the minutes? Only comment, I make it tongue in cheek, Joe, is at some point in those notes I was referenced as Mr. Nation. I'm guessing that spell
Yeah.
spell check was likely responsible, but I'm not terribly concerned about correcting it.
Oh,
Like
I'll
Captain
find
America?
Yeah.
Like if you have Captain America, you're Mr. Nation.
I might start going by it. I kind of like it, but
All right.
other than that, I'm okay with them. Any other comments, Mike, Dale?
Nope.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as with noted correction.
I will second that.
Okay. Any new business? I don't see any on the agenda. Okay, old business. So we do want to revisit the conditional use application from Mr. Carosella. Just as a reminder to the Planning Commission, I think we tabled this last time specifically. Well, two things, right? There was no way, even if we moved it forward to council at the time, that we were going to make it in time for the February council meeting, considering the public hearing requirement. And second to that, Justine had a particular request. She wanted to dig into it a little bit, look at some of the ATF regulations, I believe, and then look into a couple of other similar businesses just to get a feel and a comfort level for it. In Justine's absence, I think, we asked a number of questions last month. Any additional questions from the Planning Commission that we need to get into this evening, noting Mr. Carosella?
I don't have any questions. I've got 3 conditions I would propose.
Yeah, please do.
The first one, condition 1, prior to occupancy permit being issued, the Bridgeville Fire Department is permitted access to the building for the development of a structure pre-plan. And as a discussion point here, I don't know if we want to add on to that, that the fire department have additional access in the future, either annually or periodically, to correct or follow up on that pre-plan.
Pre-plan, Dale, from the perspective of, it was called out on last conversation that they didn't have fire retardant in the ceiling. Is that what you're concerned about?
No, it allows the fire department to go in and basically do a floor plan of the business. So they know if there's a fire in the building, they know where the safe is. They know where his workbench is. They know how to access that area. And
I got you.
They have that, they provide that. The fire department takes and puts that information in each one of the trucks. So in the event of a fire, the guys have an idea of what they're walking into before they even get into the building. And
no surprises.
Yeah, and it's all about protecting them and protecting the business.
Sure. I like the idea. I guess I'll ask the solicitor, like, are we setting ourselves up for having conditions for this business that other conditions haven't been held to, or is it within our right to make that sort of recommendation? And I don't want to assume on behalf of Mr. Carosella, but he seemed very agreeable to these sorts of things. I don't think it's a problem, but can we make kind of arbitrary considerations like that?
If I might chime in, Tom, it's not unreasonable. It's actually expected. And actually,
Okay.
When you have a conditional use like this, it's appropriate. And in fact, working with the applicant, it's interactive, and the sorts of things he suggested that he can do,
Yep.
you can kind of phrase those back as conditions. And in this case, where there's things that actually make it approvable, so to speak, for instance, he's described the quantity, the magnitude being low of this. Because at another magnitude, it might not be appropriate for this setting, but here it is. So like if he says, I'm not going to have more than X at a time or a product to produce X at a time, and therefore that's why it's not hazardous, etc., then you can actually include approved provided that, one, no more than X, etc. And along the lines of what Dale was saying, certainly appropriate to include the conditions he's talking about, the floor plan, that pre-planning, to have an annual kind of update. And in fact, in the criteria, there's the thing that talks about the inventory.
Yeah.
That would be kind of the first step, part of that pre-process I think Dale's talking about. Here's our inventory, and maybe you do it, whatever, once a year, provide updated inventory, allow for an inspection, etc.
Okay.
So that's all very appropriate, Tim.
Okay, excellent. And would the
Sorry,
fire department
sorry,
need
I'm late.
any? Go ahead.
Sorry, I'm late, everybody. I couldn't find the computer here. Turns out my wife took it to her dance class tonight, so I had to call in. So my apologies about that.
I'm presuming this is Mr. Carosella.
Yes.
Hey, thanks for joining us. We were just revisiting the topic. Some discussion here about some conditions that we'd like to apply to the permit. We're going to get to, Dale's got a couple of considerations. We just covered number one. To bring you up to speed real quick, Antonio, we're suggesting a pre-plan with the fire department just to give them a walkthrough of the facility and be aware of what's on site, what's on premises in the event that they ever have an emergency call there, going in with eyes wide open of, what's in the facility and where those things are located, that sort of thing.
Oh yeah, that's no problem at all.
Okay. Dale, number two.
Do we, well, before I go on to number two, do we want to add to that periodically or annually that they're permitted to do that again, or to update their pre-plan annually or periodically? I don't know. Maybe Tom can.
Yeah, I think you can say annually or otherwise upon request. So that inventory calls for kind of it has upon request language.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. Condition number two was at the request of the fire chief that the building be placarded in accordance with current state fire code and or National Fire Protection Association, NFPA recommendations following NFPA 704 document.
Okay.
Can you give a little more detail there, Dale?
The National Fire Protection Association is a body that makes recommendations regarding fire code and building code. And a lot of the state fire codes, I don't know about about Pennsylvania. I haven't seen theirs. I presume that they've just adopted the International Fire Code from some date, 2015, 2018, whatever the current fire code is. But NFPA is a body that makes recommendations and basically is following, trying to provide safety for the firefighters, safety for the general public. And this placarding, you see them on a lot of industrial buildings. There's what they call a diamond, NFPA diamond, and one corner of that is blue, another corner is red, another corner is yellow, and it all has to do with either health hazard, flammability, reactivity, and the fourth diamond is white, which is for specific hazards.
So it's just giving a heads up to emergency personnel what's in the building.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine.
And you can talk with the fire chief. He can hook you up with what you need. I mean, you can Google NFPA 704, and it kind of lays stuff out. It's a pretty extensive document because it goes into all kinds of different hazard classes and that type of thing. Where there's the possibility for, explosion, if there's a fire or something, mutual aid, different fire departments may not have that pre-plan, but if they roll up, they've at least, can see from the outside that, there's an issue inside someplace.
Okay. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, I can go over all the details with him. He can, kind of hook me up with all the
Yeah.
literature and everything that I need. That's fine.
Yeah, and I think these conditions, I think, are pretty straightforward. They're not meant to try and, dissuade you or impede your business, but it's just a matter of making things better for you and the community.
Yeah, no, that's perfectly fine. It's not, unreasonable by any means. I want everybody to be safe. Don't want to do anything hazardous or wrong. So it's perfectly fine with me.
Okay.
Dale, this is Joe.
Yep.
Just for a point of reference, there's a local example of this placard up in Great Southern Shopping Center, the Firestone Tire Shop next to Wendy's. It's placard. You'll see this placard on that side of that building. So you know exactly what he's talking about. There's a local example.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, and the signs, you can get them from safetysignuline.com. There's a number of places that you can get them. But you just need to make sure that the specific hazard is for what you've got is identified on that sign.
Okay.
And the signs aren't, the placards aren't that expensive.
That's fine.
And the third condition is approval of conditional use permit is provided that the owner meets all criteria of the ordinance and meets all federal, state, local, and other regulations.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
those are my three proposed.
Okay.
Mike, Tim, you guys got anything?
I think that's, those are pretty common sense things, I think.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I'm great with that, Dale. I appreciate the thought you put into it. I feel like we're not setting the bar so high as to be prohibitive to somebody who wants to expand their business in the borough, but it makes good sense. I think it's point safety considerations for both the business as well as the community. So I'm great with that.
Okay.
Does he have, Anthony, do you have any sense of quantities?
Not really. It's kind of hard to say. I mean, we've been so busy with the powder coating shop, I haven't really had a chance to do too much of the ammunition here lately. But I mean, I could see me doing a couple thousand rounds a week, which I know it sounds like a lot, but in all reality, it's not. But other than that, I'm not quite sure.
Okay. I mean, is ATF going to put some sort of cap on how much you can, how much powder you can have or use?
There'll be a cap on it. I don't know exactly what it is. I had to actually withdraw my application because it was taking too long, and I have to resubmit it again once this was all approved and everything. And then we sit down and meet and go over all the regulations and how much I'm allowed to have on site. But as I stated before, I have no intentions of having any more than a few containers of powder, and they are only a few pounds each, up to 8 pounds each, I think. So I would be well below whatever their limits are. Because I know there are certain limits. Once you start getting, huge amounts, which is nowhere even in the realm of what I'm doing now, you have to have, underground bunkers or whatever it may be, so it's completely safe. But for my area, I'm not going to be anywhere near what their limits are.
Okay. That's all I got, Tim.
Okay. So with those conditions considered, I'd take a motion to move this forward to council for consideration.
I'll make a motion. Yeah.
Okay, Dale, you second?
Yes.
Excellent. All in favor? That'd be the three of us.
Aye.
Aye. Any dissent? Okay. Antonio, thanks for your patience with us. I think this was kind of a new one for at least this regime of the Planning Commission. So just wanted to do right by everybody involved. Thanks for being on 2 months consecutively and answering questions. Look forward to working with you.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. Again, sorry I was late tonight. I couldn't find the computer and didn't realize my wife took it with her.
So no problem. No problem.
Kind of threw me for a loop.
No problem. Okay, you're welcome to stay on for the balance of the call, or if you need to drop now, no problem either.
Okay. All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Hey, Joe, just so
Alright.
you know, it's Tom. You've probably talked to Joe Collar, and you just need to do the drill, so to speak, one more time. I think you have your public hearing scheduled for the upcoming meeting. Is that right, Joe?
Yeah. Yeah, that's for the 8th.
Okay. And then you'll have the PC's recommendation that we'll place into the record as well at that time.
Okay. Sounds good.
Okay, thanks again.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
Okay, old business number 2, the comprehensive plan update. I saw the package that came out to all the planning commission with the 6 RFP responses. Let's spend a couple of minutes at least. And Joe, I know you've gone through this a couple of times, but now that we have materials in hand, open to comment across the planning commission. I did spend a little bit of time with each of the 6 of them. I guess I was looking for a little bit of the process moving forward. In previous experiences in the business world, we, take all those respondents and shortlist them to the top 2 or 3. What are the approaches the borough typically takes, or is it all 6 and we need to figure out a way of who we're, wanting to entertain for next rounds?
No, I think you're spot on. I think the best way to go about it right now is the RFPs or the proposals have been passed out to members of planning commission and members of council. I think the best thing right now is for everyone to review them. Council's yet to meet to talk about it. It may be best that we form like a committee of both members of both boards. So we decide, who wants to be at the table to move ahead with shortlisting like you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think it's best right now that everyone reviews them, makes their notes, everyone makes their own opinion on who you think you rank them. Then we can get together within the next month between the 2 boards and come to an agreement on who we want to shortlist and interview.
Okay.
While that's going on, I'm working on a grant application that will apply to the state to help fund the project. That may delay the project for a couple months, but at the end of the day, it would pay for half of it.
Okay.
So that's really where we're at right now. I just passed these out within the past week, so I have yet to get any feedback yet from members of council. So if you can give us some time on that, we can get some guidance to you by our next meeting on how we want to go this. But you're spot on. There's no need to interview all 6 of these. At least that's my recommendation.
Yeah.
Some of them are already, when I read them myself, some jump out as shining stars, and others, I don't think their plan or their approach would be a good fit here. So it'd be nice to have that discussion, and maybe it's best everyone take some notes when they're reading, and we could have a good little get together with that.
Okay. So we don't get too far out ahead of you. Do you need interest from this group tonight of people willing to participate? Do you want to solicit that? Other methods? Get with council first. What's the recommendation there?
I don't have that yet.
Okay.
Let me talk to Borough Council, and I'll let you know.
Okay.
I think with 5 members on Planning Commission, whoever wants to be part of that process, I can't see it being negative.
Sure.
It isn't like it's that big.
Okay.
Hey, Joe.
Yes, Dale.
Quick question. Estimated cost of the project is 50,000 or 75,000?
That's convoluted. We really don't have a definitive budget. I know for this year, we did budget $25,000 towards the plan. Next year, the budget isn't set yet. Now, it's foreseen that typically once something's in there, I think we can sustain it. But in all reality, when you look at the plan, the RFPs, the proposals that we got back, a good number has been 75,000 for a quality plan. At least if you look at the proposals, it's rather been 50 or 75.
Yeah.
And in all reality, if we didn't get grant money, I think we can afford the 50 because that's within our budget, and I hate to speak for the future, but I'm just hypothetical for next year. We could do that. 75, we need the grant support.
Yeah, I was just curious. It seemed like in one of them there was a comment or something about 75 being budgeted for the project, and
I think that's just a discussion with grant money.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mike, any thoughts, questions, comments on?
No,
on
I
that topic?
I got a chance to look them over, and kind of like what Joe said, there's some that jump out, and go. We have some relationship. We've had some dealings with some of them already
Mm.
that you're well aware of. So it's just a matter of going through, I think, figuring out, which ones we really want to kind of bring to the top and interview.
Yep,
But,
okay,
not today.
Yeah.
okay,
And I took the RFP and just kind of used that to create a spreadsheet for, if all the boxes get ticked as far as, what we said that we were looking for and the criteria for being chosen, and started going through that way, and just kind of a methodical process.
yeah, that's a good point. And Joe, again, maybe just, historical perspective of how we typically do these things. Will there be a standard, when we get down to making up numbers, final three, will there be a standard way that we evaluate these things so that it's, eyes wide open to everybody of,
I think that could be something that could either be twofold. One, we can ask the state come in to give us some guidance, or two, when we select the joint committee that's going to move ahead with this, we come up with that at that day one.
yeah, okay.
And I have notes on all the RFPs. I'll type them up so that it's easy to read and follow, and I'll share them with everyone. So at least you can see where I was thinking when I reviewed them.
Yeah, that'd be
Maybe that'd be
great.
helpful. Yep.
Yep. So
I'll get you
request right now
next
is to
week.
take a close look at them, compile thoughts, and, wait for this joint committee between commission and the planning commission and the council to take formal next steps.
Exactly. We only got the proposals back this month, so it's still
Okay.
very fresh.
Okay. All right, excellent. That's all we've got on the agenda for old business. Anything else from planning commission that you want to mention this evening?
I don't know if we want to go back in and revisit some of the issues that we tabled earlier, mid last year, after we picked up the 3 or 4 that we decided to move on at some point in time.
Yeah, I think we do, Dale. It's a good point. When I looked at the agenda this evening, I mean, it's fairly thin, right? And we've all talked about being a little bit more aggressive with things we plan. I think I'm guessing we collectively want to do that, mindful of Justine leading the planning commission at this point. I think at a minimum, following this meeting this evening, we can put a request to her to say, as we think about March, and we'll have RFP and comprehensive plan things to get to, but we should probably have a standing agenda item to revisit. What are we doing in the meantime, right? I think we're all, comprehensive plan is a good place to start, but I don't think it needs to be the end all be all for what we do this year. So definitely want to do that with the chair's input.
Yeah.
Definitely.
All right.
Okay.
We should also know next month on our active Allegheny pedestrian plan, that the grant money we sought for that. So we should know hopefully by next meeting where that is. So that may be an active project that gets initiated through the commission here within the next month or so.
Great.
It's looking favorable.
Excellent. Good to hear.
Good job, Joe.
Yeah.
We're not there yet.
Well, you made the effort to go for the grant and write the proposal. I mean, that's half the battle.
Mhm. So hopefully we'll know next month.
Okay.
Okay, last call for anything else for tonight's discussion. If not, I'd take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All in dissent. Speak now. Okay, we're adjourned.
Right.
Thank you guys for the time. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Good night,
Tim.
everybody.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you. Appreciate
Bye-bye.
it. Have
See
a
you
nice
guys.
night.
Thank all you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good night, Joe.
You too, Dale. Good night.